Good afternoon. Welcome to Kenya News Update today. I'm your host, and we're diving into a story that's making waves in the global tech and economic landscape. According to a report published today, February 19th, 2026, by Yonhap, the average annual salary of employees at Samsung Electronics, the South Korean tech giant, jumped nearly 20% in 2025. That's a staggering increase in a single year, pushing the average salary to an estimated $106,000. This isn't just a corporate HR story. It's a signal flare in the global race for talent, driven by one overwhelming force, the artificial intelligence boom. Over the next 12 minutes, we'll unpack what this means for workers, for companies, and for nations, including Kenya, as we navigate this new economic reality. We'll look at the numbers, the context, and the fierce debate about whether this AI-driven prosperity is a tide that lifts all boats or creates a new, exclusive club of winners. Let's start with the core data. The report, citing industry sources, states that Samsung Electronics' total wage costs surged by approximately 20% last year. This pushed the average annual salary for its employees to around $106,000. To put that in perspective, that's roughly 15.9 million shillings per year, or about 1.3 million shillings per month. Now, Samsung is a behemoth. Founded in 1938 by Lee Byung-chul as a trading company, it has grown into the largest chaebol, or family-run conglomerate, in South Korea. As of 2024, it had the world's fifth highest brand value. It employs over 120,000 people globally in its electronics division alone. This wage hike represents a massive financial commitment, likely running into billions of dollars. But why now? The report points directly to the AI boom. Samsung is in a fierce battle with companies like TSMC of Taiwan and Intel of the United States to manufacture the most advanced semiconductors, the brains behind AI systems. This requires not just cutting-edge factories, but cutting-edge talent, chip designers, software engineers, and AI researchers. And that talent is in desperately short supply, commanding premium salaries worldwide. This brings us to our first key perspective, the talent war. The 20% wage increase at Samsung is less a generous bonus and more a strategic necessity. The global competition for AI expertise has turned into a bidding war. Tech giants like Google, Microsoft, Meta, and Nvidia are all offering compensation packages that can reach into the hundreds of thousands, even millions, of dollars for top researchers. For a hardware-focused company like Samsung, which needs to attract and retain the minds that can design the next generation of AI chips, matching or exceeding these market rates is existential. This creates a powerful upward pressure on wages at the very top of the tech sector. It's a classic case of supply and demand. The supply of world-class AI talent is limited, while the demand from corporations and governments is virtually infinite. The result? Salaries for these specialized roles are skyrocketing, creating islands of extreme wealth within the broader tech industry. This wage inflation at Samsung likely isn't uniform. The 20% average almost certainly masks much larger increases for AI and semiconductor specialists, with more modest adjustments for employees in other divisions. This internal disparity is a microcosm of a global trend, a growing wage gap between those with skills directly applicable to the AI revolution and those without. Now, let's contrast this with a broader, more critical view. While Samsung employees celebrate a 20% raise, what does this mean for the average worker in Kenya or in manufacturing hubs across Asia and Africa? There's a growing concern that the AI boom, while creating high-paying jobs for a select few, could lead to job displacement and wage stagnation for the many. Automation powered by AI threatens roles in data entry, customer service, and even some aspects of manufacturing and logistics. The fear is a winner-take-most economy, where the benefits of AI accrue overwhelmingly to capital owners and a small cadre of highly skilled workers. From this perspective, Samsung's wage hike is a symptom of a deeper problem, the concentration of AI's economic gains. Furthermore, as companies like Samsung invest billions in AI R&D and talent, they may have less capital for other investments, such as expanding traditional manufacturing lines that employ larger numbers of people. The debate is stark: is AI a job creator or a job destroyer? The evidence so far is mixed, but the sheer scale of investment and the premium on specific skills suggest the initial phase is creating intense inequality within labor markets. This leads us directly to the political dimension, perfectly encapsulated by recent comments from George Osborne, the former UK Chancellor, who is now a senior executive at OpenAI. Speaking to The Guardian Africa just 2 months into his new role, Osborne issued a stark warning. He said countries that do not embrace powerful AI systems risk, FOMO, fear of missing out, and could be left as weaker and poorer nations. His argument is that AI is a general-purpose technology, like electricity or the internet, and nations that fail to adopt it will fall behind in productivity, innovation, and ultimately, national wealth. This is a powerful narrative being pushed by the AI industry itself. It puts immense pressure on governments, including Kenya's under President William Ruto, to create friendly regulatory environments, invest in digital infrastructure, and reform education systems to produce AI-ready graduates. Osborne's warning frames the Samsung wage hike not as an internal corporate matter, but as a national imperative. South Korea, through companies like Samsung, is betting its economic future on dominating key parts of the AI supply chain. The high wages are the cost of that bet. The question for Kenya and other developing nations is, what is their bet? Can they develop a niche in this new ecosystem, or will they be relegated to being consumers of AI technology built elsewhere, potentially facing the downsides of job displacement without reaping the high-value job creation? Let's bring this debate home to Kenya's context. President Ruto's administration has emphasized digital transformation as a pillar of economic growth. Initiatives like the Digital ID, the push for a digital economy, and investments in tech hubs like Kansas City show an ambition to be part of the global tech conversation. The challenge is translating that ambition into high-value jobs that command salaries even a fraction of Samsung's average. Kenya has a vibrant tech scene, with notable success in mobile money and fintech. But the leap to competing in core AI research and development, or advanced semiconductor design, is enormous. It requires decades of sustained investment in higher education, particularly in fields like advanced mathematics, computer science, and electrical engineering. It also requires attracting or nurturing homegrown companies with the scale and patience to compete globally. The alternative path is to focus on applying AI solutions to local problems, in agriculture, healthcare, and public services, and building a workforce skilled in implementation rather than foundational innovation. This could create good jobs, but likely not at the $106,000 level seen at Samsung. The risk, as Osborne warns, is that without a strategic foothold in the AI value chain, Kenya's economy could become more dependent on foreign technology, with the profits and highest salaries flowing out of the country. So where does this leave us? The 20% wage increase at Samsung is a clear data point in a complex global story. On one hand, it demonstrates the transformative economic power of AI, creating unprecedented compensation for those with the right skills. It shows that companies are willing to pay a premium to secure their future in what they see as the defining technological shift of our era. This could inspire a generation of students in Kenya and worldwide to pursue STEM fields, hoping to catch this wave. On the other hand, it highlights the risk of a deepening divide. The benefits are not automatic or evenly distributed. They flow to individuals, companies, and nations that are already at the forefront of technology. For a country like Kenya, the path is fraught with challenges. It requires careful, strategic choices about education, investment, and regulation. It means not just fearing missing out, but actively building a unique and sustainable position in the new AI-powered global economy. The story from Seoul is ultimately a call to action. The AI train is leaving the station, and the cost of a ticket, in terms of talent investment, is going up by 20% a year. The question for every nation is not just whether to get on board, but which car they can afford to ride in, and whether they'll be driving or just along for the ride. That's our deep dive for today. The wage surge at Samsung is more than a corporate headline. It's a metric for measuring the early, uneven impacts of the AI revolution. As this story develops, we'll continue to track how these global shifts affect job markets, economic policy, and everyday life right here in Kenya. For now, this is your host, reminding you to look beyond the numbers to the larger story they tell. Subscribe to Kenya News Update today for more analysis on the stories shaping our world. Thank you for watching.